We were on Christmas break when my daughter-in-law, Hannah, turned up her nose at the meal I had prepared. Is this really what we're eating? Fried chicken and an omelet? This feels like a kid's lunchbox. Why don't you serve sushi or something? Just how poor are you? She scoffed. Her tone was as petulant as a sulky child's, and she stood in my kitchen, looking down on my cooking. I had always thought of her as family, but this was too much. My name is Hai, and I'm 62 years old. My only son, Frank, is independent, so my husband and I enjoy a peaceful life together. Lately, I've been taking yoga classes and even picked up tennis as a hobby. That morning, I was excited about having lunch with some friends from tennis. I'm heading out to fish with the guys. If the timing works out, I'll pick you up later. Just give me a call, my husband said while I got ready. I can make my way back, don't worry. Enjoy your fishing trip. Still, if anything happens, let me know. I'll come get you, he insisted. He can be overprotective sometimes, but he's always been kind. Even when I don't need help, he offers it, making sure I'm safe and cared for. His love and support allow me to enjoy my days in peace. One day, I received an unexpected message from Frank. I'm getting married. I'd like to introduce her to you this Saturday. Are you free? Frank, now 30, works as a salesperson for a major telecommunications company. He's been so busy that he only visits during the New Year holidays, so we haven't been in touch much. His sudden marriage announcement caught me off guard. I quickly turned to my husband. Finally, I was worried he'd never settle down. Of course we have to meet her, my husband said, beaming. While I shared his excitement, I also felt a bit uneasy. Frank takes after his father, kind and gentle to a fault. But that kindness has often made him too passive. Even as a child, he wouldn't complain when classmates borrowed his pencils and never returned them. I worried that he might not stand up for himself in a relationship either. With those concerns in mind, the day of the introduction arrived. Frank's fiancée, Hannah, was stunning, tall, graceful, almost like a model. This is Hannah, he introduced her. She gave a small nod, her demeanor poised and distant. I'm Hai, Frank's mother. Please come in, I greeted warmly, but she didn't respond much. I tried to make conversation. You're so tall and beautiful. How did you two meet? A coworker set us up on a group date, Frank answered. She was a waitress at the restaurant, and I kept visiting to see her. She was so hardworking and cute. You really adore her. My husband chuckled. Reminds me of how smitten I was with your mother when we were younger. As we chatted, Hannah remained reserved. I couldn't tell if she was just shy or uninterested in engaging with us. What do you like most about Frank? I asked, hoping for a sweet response. Nothing in particular, she answered bluntly. I blinked. Do you prefer coffee or tea? Juice, she replied, her tone as curt as a child's. After she left, I turned to Frank. Is she always this quiet, or is she just nervous? No, that's just how she is, he said. I don't mean to be rude, but she didn't greet us properly or use any polite speech, I noted. Frank hesitated before explaining. She had a rough childhood. Her parents had her in high school, got married right after, but fought all the time and eventually divorced. She didn't have a stable family growing up. I want to support her. Hearing that, I softened. I see, then make sure you give her a happy life. I'll do my best to support you both. But after the wedding, something unexpected happened. Hannah started calling me constantly. I feel dizzy from shopping. Can you pick me up? My groceries are too heavy to carry home. I booked a hair appointment too far away. Can you drive me? It's raining. Can you pick me up? At first, I was happy to help. It felt like having a daughter who needed me. But over time, her constant calls became exhausting. Even during my yoga classes, my phone would ring. My husband, who also works as a security guard, tried to help sometimes, but he couldn't always be available. Can you take a taxi instead? He once suggested. If you're paying, sure, she responded without hesitation. She treated me like a personal chauffeur. I started to wonder, how had my son ended up with someone so selfish? Then Frank came home alone for a visit, and I finally asked him outright. Why does Hannah act like this? She's beautiful, but dealing with her personality must be exhausting. Frank hesitated before admitting, honestly, I proposed to her because I was completely mesmerized by her looks, but from the start she made it clear. If I wanted to be with her, I had to do everything her way. I agreed to it all. Hearing this, my heart sank. I had raised my son to be kind, but had I made him too soft? After some time without contact, Frank called again. "We'll be coming home for Christmas," he said. I prepared dinner, excited to see them again, but the moment Hannah saw the food, her face twisted in disgust. "What is this? Fried chicken and an omelette? Are we on a school field trip? Why not sushi? Seriously, how poor are you?" she sneered. Frank, looking embarrassed, muttered, "I should have told Mom what you like, sorry." He hung his head. Even after all this time, my son still let people walk all over him. Hannah crossed her arms. I don't even like raw fish. I only eat meat sushi. Can't we just order delivery?" Just as I was about to lose my patience, my husband suddenly stood up. His voice, usually calm, trembled with anger. "This will be the last time we see each other. Treat this as our final meal together. Eat whatever you want, even meat sushi." Frank and Hannah stared at him in shock. "What do you mean?" "The last time?" Frank asked hesitantly. "That's exactly what I mean," my husband said firmly. "Your mother put a lot of effort into today's meal, preparing your favorites, fried chicken, tamagoyaki, roast beef, and even cake. But your wife mocked her cooking and insulted us as if we were beneath her. From this moment forward, we are severing ties with you," he declared. It was clear my husband had reached his breaking point. He was resolute, there would be no turning back. "What's the delay?" Hannah scoffed. "If you have roast beef or cake, then bring them out. You only have yourselves to blame for keeping them hidden. Don't make such a big deal out of it." She showed no remorse, instead choosing to challenge me outright. But if my husband had had enough, then so had I. I wasn't going to back down from this insolent daughter-in-law. "I'm sorry that my cooking isn't up to your standards. Is there something specific you'd like?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. "As I said before, meat sushi, the kind with roast beef or prosciutto. Oh, and ajo or caprese too," she demanded without a shred of hesitation. "We're out of olive oil for agillo, but we have red snapper, clams, and all the ingredients for aqua pazza. The rest is up to you," I replied coolly. I pulled the ingredients from the fridge and handed her a pot. "What are you expecting me to do with this?" she asked, frozen in place. "It seems my cooking isn't to your liking, so let's see how well you can cook," I said, handing the responsibility over to her. "Good idea," my husband chimed in. "You ridiculed my wife's cooking, calling her poor and her food pathetic. Surely someone as discerning as you must be an excellent cook." Hannah looked flustered. "But I'm just a guest here," she mumbled. "Enough excuses. Get started," I ordered, my patience wearing thin. Seeing the intensity in my eyes, she hesitantly placed the pot on the stove. "Be careful not to burn it. Start by washing the clams and removing the stems from the cherry tomatoes," I instructed. Clearly uncomfortable, she awkwardly tapped the clams with a fork. "Shouldn't you be soaking them in salt water to remove the sand, rather than poking them?" my son asked, watching her with confusion. "I have no idea, and honestly, you're such a terrible mother-in-law for making me do this," Hannah snapped, throwing the fork onto the counter. Feeling cornered, she stormed out, laughing as if to mask her frustration. Just then my sister, who had been in the next room, stepped in. "You mocked someone else's cooking, called it pathetic, and yet you can't even clean clams properly? Not even a single thank you or an ounce of manners? Unbelievable," she said, shaking her head. My sister had been a cooking instructor for years and was also well versed in etiquette. "I was trying to ignore it, but your attitude is appalling. And that outfit, what exactly are you wearing?" she added, eyeing Hannah critically. "What's wrong with my outfit? These are Korean leggings. They're trendy," Hannah shot back. "And you thought those were appropriate for visiting your husband's family? You look like you just rolled out of bed," my sister remarked sharply. "Your behavior, your choice of words, your appearance, everything about you is a mess. And yet the people in this house have put up with you," she continued, exasperated. Encouraged by my sister's boldness, I found myself speaking more bluntly than usual. "You know, if I spent my time worrying about someone like you, I'd lose my sanity. That's why I've just accepted it," I said. Tension escalated between Hannah and my son. This whole mess is because you kept complaining about mom's cooking. My son lashed out at Hannah. Excuse me? If you've got something to say it to my face, you old hag. Hannah snapped at my sister. The issue is your complete lack of respect and manners, my sister retorted. The argument heated up until my husband intervened with a thundering voice. Enough. If you two want to fight, do it somewhere else. Come back when you're ready to speak like civilized adults. I'll listen once, but only once, he said, his tone final. His sharp glare sent both of them scurrying out of the house. A few days later, they returned, their expressions heavy with guilt. Please don't cut us off. Don't abandon us, my son pleaded. But my husband was unmoved. Your wife's behavior was disgraceful, but you're just as bad for tolerating it. Watching you cater to someone so selfish and mannerless is beyond disappointing, he said, his disappointment evident. Then something completely unexpected happened. I've made my decision. If it means staying connected to my family, I'll get a divorce, my son declared. Hannah's eyes widened in shock. What? You promised to protect me, she said, desperation creeping into her voice. I thought so too, but now I see that my mother and aunt were right. You have no sense of decency. Your manners, your speech, your attitude, everything about you is wrong, my son said firmly. You're making me the villain here? Don't you care about me at all? She snapped. I'm just exhausted, he admitted, his voice low. Running to pick you up after shopping, handing you money when you're short, answering your calls even during work. If I ignore a call, does that mean I don't love you? If I say no, does that mean I'm a bad husband? You promised to support me too, but now you're furious at me? He said, frustration finally boiling over. Then, the final blow. And on top of everything, you cheated on me, he said coldly. The room fell silent. You even gave my phone number to your lover without my knowledge. Do you realize how humiliating that was? He continued. That's right, I chimed in. Handle your own problems from now on. Exactly, my husband agreed. We're done dealing with this nonsense. From now on, you're on your own. After cutting ties with them, my sister began visiting their home. Under the guise of having tea, she relentlessly drilled etiquette lessons into Hannah. The result? Hannah, once smug and arrogant, became pale and drained. Eventually, she showed up at my house, visibly humbled. I'm sorry for everything, she whispered, handing me an envelope of cash as a token of apology. I barely glanced at it. No amount of apologies will change my decision, I said, turning away. She broke down in tears. Soon after, my son and Hannah officially separated. Left with nowhere to go and no financial support, she finally understood the consequences of her actions. But it was too late. And so the storm passed. My husband and I returned to our peaceful life, enjoying our hobbies once more. As for my son, he wasted no time in moving on, actively searching for a new partner. This time he chose wisely, a kind, well-mannered woman who loved to cook. I love how warm and considerate she is, he said, his happiness evident. Watching him, I no longer doubted how we had raised him. I'm heading to yoga, I said one morning, and I'm off to fish, my husband replied. On my way back, my husband would pick me up, just like always. Like father, like son, gentle to the core. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.